rebuildingfund.com. That's www.unityandrebuildingfund.com. We all hear how we need to work together and rebuild the city, and we're actually doing it. You can make online donations and click on links to track the progress of the Unity and Rebuilding Fund. And for more information, 313-868-0000 is a local number. Again, 313-868-0000. Support the Unity and Rebuilding Fund.
And they should do the old way. They should rise up to former desolation. And they should repair the wasted, the desolation of many generations. This is a quote from Isaiah chapter 61, verse 4. The Son of Man is requesting your support. Someone in our families has paid union dues all with their lives to some corporation. Now, let's pay union dues in our community, in the cities in which we live. We're going to rebuild our business, our home, our street. As you can see, we've already started the rebuilding process, and we're asking for your help. Now, our community, in the cities in which we live, by merely sending $5 per month. That's right, $5 per month per person in each household. Make your check or money orders out to Unity and Rebuilding Fund. That's Unity and Rebuilding Fund. Send or take them to Michigan First Credit Union, 19200 Wyoming. That's 19200 Wyoming, Detroit, Michigan, 48221. That's 48221. For additional locations, visit www.michiganfirst.com. That's www.michiganfirst.com. The account number is 1514. That's 1514. To wire your union dues, the routing number is 272-078-365. 272-078-365. You can for us to make your deposit, or you can make your check or money order out as follows. Unity and Rebuilding Fund, PO Box 21385, Detroit, Michigan 48221. Remember that. PO Box 21385, Detroit, Michigan 48221. To get Unity and Rebuilding Fund brochures, call 313-868-0000. That's 313-868-0000. If you have any further questions about Unity and Rebuilding Fund, 786-9742 or 601-786-1332. That's 601-786-9742 or 601-786-1332. Consider your brother in faith, Marvin Ahmad Muhammad, the Son of Man. The views and opinions expressed on the views and opinions of W33BY, its affiliates, management, or sponsors.
Brothers and sisters, are you tired of reading the Holy Scriptures and not really understanding what you read? And if are you reasonably sure
this conference is being recorded,
you may have a different view than your own, then let's talk to one another. Let's reason with one another on a Scriptural Discussion with the Son of Man, a live broadcast every Sunday at 12 noon on TV 33, FM 88.1 WHPR, and Comcast Cable. So why don't you call and let's discuss the Holy Bible? And if you have one, the agreement about the Holy Scriptures and their true meaning. So tune in to a Scriptural Discussion with the Son of Man every Sunday. 33, FM 88.1 WHPR, and Comcast Cable. You can call in live on the air at area code 313-868-4336, 868-0342, and 351. Of course, the area code is 313. That's 313-868-4336, 868-0342, and 868-0351. And now let's go live with the Scriptural Discussion with the Son of Man.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful. You all at the station, would you please do what you need to do to get that echo out the phone? In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, the Truthful, and the Most Just. I greet all of you once again. Thank you, baby. With the greeting words of peace from the God of peace. May Allah's salam alaikum. Soon I'm probably going to just start saying it all in English. But it's a universal greeting that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught me, that no matter what language people speak, the Muslim recognizes that greeting in whatever the language. And so we try to keep the tradition. But I don't like people to think that I'm proud or I try my best to do what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught me in his presentation of Islam to me. One of the things he reiterated, he said that don't have big eyes. We think we are little U's and not big eyes. And that is one of the reasons why I always try that Allah hates proud people. As he said that you can't reach the top of mountains in your height, and you can't step through the earth. So just try to take your place and man that. So that's the way the messenger put it. So the earth is bigger than you and me, and it's deeper than you and me. We don't have to walk around proud. And so he used that as an example. So people, you notice I always keep an ear open. Because if you're going to fuss with people and you're not going to listen, you don't know whether your fussing is doing any good or not. And usually if you fussing with somebody, I would think that you doing it for a purpose. If someone offends you and you start fussing about it, how do you know if they you saying and trying to apologize if you done stopped your ears up? And if they trying to apologize to you, you need to quit fussing. Is that right? So it's like I was telling some of you before. I fuss with white folks about how they've treated us. And some of them trying to do better, well, then I need to be willing to accept the fact that they're trying to do better. You understand? And don't be putting no blanket on all. So I learned that from Elijah Muhammad when he was thanking the Chicago white people. And then he reminded me that there are white Muslims in America. But I know what he was talking about. These people, as he had told the whole world, and I stand by it and ready to prove it. Of course, ain't nobody trying to argue with me. That if you believe in the Holy Bible, and there's a lots of white folks that believe in the Holy Bible, that's not a Christian scripture, that's a Muslim book. And what you are practicing, when you practice what's in it, is Islam. So there's white Muslims in America, and lots of them. That's what the messenger said. I'm just clearing it up for you. You know, I remember, now even though he called himself Christian, it's a lot of stuff Christian, but the president hit it right on the head. He was concise when he said, ain't no God condone you murdering people, murdering innocent people. No God condones you doing that. I don't care what you claim to believe in. There's nothing to disagree with on that statement. So, yes.
Just wanted to your attention. You said you wanted to let you know the last about 5 minutes or so. Audience wasn't able to hear what you're saying because we had an internal problem, but we resolved it. So I don't know if you want to repeat any of that.
Well, I wish you'd tell me before the fact. That's what I mean. Don't let me stand up here and waste words. You know, just tell me you have difficulty so that I can get it straight. You know, I can wait on you to get it straight or whatnot. And even if we have to play a commercial or something, because I don't want nobody to not hear what I have to say. Now, for the past 5 minutes, ain't nobody heard what I said? Okay.
Since you started.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
As I was telling you, I should say, telling those who was in the conference room. Now I'm talking to those on the television. You say you don't see me.
I think that's somebody acting up. And we hear the conference room.
That's. I think that's. Yes, I'm here. Well, that's, you know, the phone is on and I'm in there. Now you need to conference room. You know, I mean, if you can dial that one, you can dial the other one. So I want to say that we are not here to proudness to you. I was saying, now that everyone can hear me, if you are fussing at somebody about something that they are doing, and you have anger, always make sure. I know in the military they have what is called a fire watch, And that is most of us, we never asked why it's called fire watch, and didn't nobody really ever tell us. But that didn't just mean when you got the heat on in the billup that somebody need to be that ain't the only thing that was talking about. That was just another way of saying you got to be on the watch when. Who is that in the conference room with their phone off? The phone, man. You got to be on your watch. Well, you know that when a person fire a gun at you, you notice it's called fire a gun at you. At night, you'll see a flash of fire coming out that. You'll see a flash of fire coming out of that muzzle. Even though on the M16 they have a flash suppressor on the front of them, you can still see a flash come out of it. I don't think you can see that coming out of a silencer now. but generally, it's just a term used that somebody needs to be up watching while somebody else sleeping. You understand? And fire bears watching, because fire, you understand, as the fire is another term that we use in the philosophical circles. Desire is like fire, people's desires. That's why the book says, what profiteth a man to gain the world and lose control of himself, lose control of his desires, his low desires. In the Holy Quran, it refers to them as low desires. The Bible refers to them as saying that they have become lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God. Notice all of these cars and all of the things. I'm not just talking about sex. I'm talking about your desires for things. You who wouldn't want to ride in a limousine, man? Who wouldn't want their own private plane? Who wouldn't want their helicopter? Who wouldn't want nice, beautiful mansions and nice, fine clothes and whatnot? All those things are pleasurable to man. You understand? But you were told and warned, I should say, because prophets came as bringers of good news and as warners, warning you that your greatest enemy, yourself. We were compared to horses, man. The horse ain't no good if his rider can't control him. So you got to learn to control yourself. You have to learn to forbid yourself to follow all of your desires. All things that you desire, you should desire in moderation. You understand? So anyway, we when we get on, just like you hear me get on white people about their mistreatment of us, You notice you don't never hear them come in here and say that I'm being unjust, do you? And they can't say that because it may sound to you like I'm ranting or whatnot, but I'm not. I'm thinking and I'm making sure that what I'm saying is justified. You don't you don't turn around and tell people that they wronged you, and then if you see some of them try to offer an apology and try to do better, ignore that. You can't ignore that. If you fussed at them for doing you wrong, I assume you was doing it because you expect them to correct themselves. Huh? And if a man goes to correct himself, then forgive as we forgive our debtors. Is that what we say in the prayer? So, you have to remember why you was giving them things to say. So, another place, the way of peace is, as you would that men do to you, do ye also unto them. We don't say it like that. We say, as you would like men to do unto you. But that's what would meant there. As you would like that men do to you, then do that to them. It didn't say, as men do to you, do that to them. Even though there's a place in the book that says, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. But that's vengeance, right? And the scripture say, that's mine. It said, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, I will repay. And even though you were given that, he said, whoever forgoes it, well, that would be a expiation for them. And in other words, that when you need some forgiveness, or when you get in trouble, that may be a get out of jail free card for you. You understand? Allah will remember that and have mercy on you, because you blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. You have to be careful how you exact things on people. When we up and doing fine, when we on top, man, we think that that's going to last forever. Right? That's like, you had sometime if it blew, ooh, this is nice. And a child would think that it's going to always be blue skies. But clouds come, man. They coming. Bad weather coming. Huh? And you prepare for bad weather in good weather. You see? So, that's what Allah was saying. As you would that men do to you. I remember this movie I saw. It was called A Knight's Tale. And this little pauper, he was born a poor man, and his, in order to be a knight, they had this thing, you had to be of, royal lineage. You had to be a somebody. You couldn't come from peasants. And so he got with a couple of fellas, and his daddy took stars, and he said, you can become what you want. And the little boy, when he was small, his dad gave him Well, you all need to call into the other room. I got my volume up as high as I can get it, and that's the best I can do. So his dad sold him. Actually, he didn't sell him. He gave him to a knight to be his squire and his servant. And the little boy ran along beside the knight's horse. And as he grew up, you know, the knight that he was the servant of, I think he got killed or something. But anyway, he took his armor and he changed his name and to Von Liechtenstein or something. And he made up a history of himself and had his other fellas going along with him. But anyway, he got into a job with a king. And the king would always come out there because in you know, hiding his in the jousts. And so this little peasant who was pretending to be of royal blood, as they say, he bested, he beat the king. And the king, rather than to lose honor, the king, he and the king was sitting there, and the king said that you know, he's had enough, and could we just call it a draw? And so he told the king yes. He didn't know that was the king now. Later on, at the end of the movie, the little fella, they had found out he was a fake. So they had him out there in the town square in them things which you put your arms in, that not the guillotine, that where your head go in and your hands go in, and they was throwing vegetables at him and stuff and hitting him, and the king rode up and saw his men standing there trying to keep the people from throwing stuff at him, but they was, you know, they was being hit with it too. And so when everybody saw the king, they stopped throwing, and he walked up to him and looked at him and said, "We are, in so many words, we're pretty much alike, aren't we?" He said, "Neither one of us could hide our identity." And the king turned around and told the people. He said, after he told him, he said, he said, "Take him down, take him let him go." And he said, "I see your men here willing to lay their lives down for you," and that kind of thing. He went through the whole spiel. And the king said, "I have determined that this man is of royal blood." And no one questions the word of the king, do they? And everybody said no. And he told him, "Take a knee." And he said, now he didn't realize when he showed honor and respect, that was the moral of it. He showed honor and respect for a man that he didn't realize would one day bring him honor and respect. And so, you know, you never know who you mistreating, and you never know who you doing good to. You remember the book says, "When I was hungry, you fed me. You clothed me. and I was sick and in prison, you visited me, you came unto me. And they said, Lord, when did we see you? He said, as you did it to the least of these, my brethren, you did it unto me. Remember those words? So it's written, come and inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world, and prepared of my Father. You know, the Father of your deeds is the mind that's in you. You see, most people don't know that. But, so we have much to, and the word that comes out your mouth is the Son of your Father. Most people don't know that. But we are teaching you our language now. And by knowing our language, it helps you to communicate with us better. So I'm, yeah, I'm angry with those people like George Zimmerman and those who upheld him in what he did. And they're going to be paid. The unjust courts that let go, they ain't going to get away with that. See, what they didn't realize is that God didn't just want him, he wanted everybody who agreed with him. Did you hear what I said? Just like that fella that called himself some guy 827 or whatever. Allah wasn't just after him. He was after everybody who agreed with just attack on me. Got him too. You know, when you take part in an unjust action, you have a share in the blame for it. In this world, they teach you that. You see a man rob a bank and he running, hey, you help him. You help him and abetted him. Gave him a comfortable, gave him some comfort. Well, they want you too. The law wants you too. Right? Okay. So I want to talk with you today. Oh, by the way, this is not me just talking at you. Those unmute yourself and just a moment. Now, those of you, I asked you all to bring me a phone up here that y'all ain't dropped in the water or whatever, and I see it ain't been done yet. Now, we got 4 of these phones here, and I got number 4. Now, y'all bring me another phone up here that maybe will let me talk and people can hear me. In the conference room, you can press *6. Say something that you are offended about, that you feel that you have justification, then you can correct me and I will correct myself. If I have said in the those who are looking at me on the TV in the city of Detroit, you can call the station. The number is, or you could call into the conference room. Then you don't have to worry about no line being busy or whatnot. Or you call into the conference room and just That number is area code 712-432-0075. The access code is 912-932, followed by the pound key. And I think they have Skype up for those who are listening outside of the country. And you can call on Skype. And those who are too shy, I guess you can type you something in there and ask your question and entertain it. But don't you type none of that profanity and stuff in there. It don't call for that. You know? I want you to be able to talk back to me if you feel that I'm being unjust or saying something that is not accurate. I'm not up here to lie to you. If I'm who I claim to be, I can't stand up here lying to you. The Son of Man is not no liar. So, and that's who I am. I'm the Son of Man. So you can come in here and converse with me, and you find out whether or not, I mean, you can't test me because you don't know enough to test me. You wouldn't, it's like people asking you a question about something that they don't know the answer to. Well, how you going to test me if you don't know the answer? So, and I'm the only one who Allah has given scriptures to. So ain't no sense in you coming in here and call yourself trying to test me. You've been listening to, even though it's been a lot of people, it ain't been nobody but the white man, really, the mind that we gave him. You got yours from him. Christianity, for instance. I don't care what denomination you got it from. I don't care if you say your daddy taught it to you or your mama taught it to you. Well, it goes back to the white man. And that religion, Christianity, the name, that came from him. The book that he was reading out of, he gave you the impression. He didn't come out and say it was from him. He said it's King James Version. And realized that, that wasn't talking about King James authored the Bible, and it wasn't talking about King James translated it. But King James, he was a king that he was more just-minded than these people would like to admit. Because King James is the one that ordered the Bible to be taken out of the hands only of the clergy and to be put in the language and translated so that the average person out there could have access to the book much. And why the clergy started putting lies out there about he was and all that kind of stuff. Not according to the history I read. They were just throwing that out there to try to make people think hard of him because he took their authority away from them. From being over the people. You used to couldn't get Holy Scripture unless you went to some crooked priest. And all they had to do was tell the ignorant masses that so-and-so is a witch and you should burn him. And they was murderers, man. I mean, look what they did to Jesus. Them was the religious people that said, let him be crucified. They the ones set that in motion, the Jews. The religious people of that time. Am I lying or telling the truth? If I'm got it wrong, come on, tell me what I got wrong. The religious people was the people who fought the prophets the hardest because they were in authority over the people, misleading the people. So when the true representative of God show up, they the first one to holler. He's that. He's preaching sedition. That's heresy. You know, this world, they got most people, they think you really smart when you use a lot of words that they don't understand. We call them $500 words, you know. So, you think because someone uses a lot of fancy language, that means they smart. You want to know if somebody's smart. A really smart person does not talk to you in language that he knows you don't understand. If he's really trying to communicate with you. Do you understand? You notice, Allah, before you start trying to take what I say and twist it, Allah didn't reveal the scriptures in the language of the common man. Because it wasn't addressed to you. He had already said, to him whom I give no understanding to, he don't have any. Now here, take it. How long you been twisting and turning the scriptures and trying to figure out what they meant? And got all these false religions out here because you've been trying your best to build you a religion that would lead you into the proper theology of the Holy Scriptures, theological understanding of the Holy Scriptures. You ain't been able to do it yet. All you built was a bunch of confusion. And the Bible prophesied that that's what you did. They said men got together and they go to heaven. Right? Well, hadn't the book already said that no man can ascend up to heaven but the one who came down from there? The only mind that can ascend up into the Holy Scriptures has to be a mind that was produced by the Holy Scriptures. That's mine. That's me, the Son of Man. Man and mind, that's one thing I repeated, that, W.D. Muhammad, he said that, and that was right. The messenger said that, according to what some of them had told me, and I saw the truth of that because Allah did visit W.D. Muhammad. He just didn't stay with him. He visited him. You go and look at some of them early Muhammad speaks in 75. And I mean, he was even in the cartoons, he was showing me lessons. That's how you teach a baby. You teach them with pictures. You see, you start off with picture language before you learn. I was looking at one, and I remember this picture in particular where it was showing me my what was written in Ezekiel, but it was a picture, and it is right here. The honorable. This one was called "Deliverance from the Womb," and if you look at that, you see the little baby on the one side, and then the little boy, the young man, standing up there looking at a hand with a book in it. Okay, now the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he was my deliverer. You know, remember, if you read his teachings, he told you that you read of in Revelation was actually talking about him. And that's true, because he was over the nation, and the nation was a she. And that's one of the reasons why when you hear the speaking of the every chapter in the Holy Quran, it says, in the name, except the ninth one, that's on hypocrites, so they don't say no prayer for no hypocrite. But it says, in the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful. You notice, man has both the X and the Y chromosome in him. The woman only carries the X chromosome. The man has both. That's why the sex of the child is determined by the man. Do you understand? The child gets its component that makes the child a female, as you say, or a male, that comes from the man. And you notice you can you can convert a man to a woman, even now. You can and stuff like that. As from man comes everything. And so he is the X and the Y, the beneficent, the merciful, the male, the female. Do you understand? I'm not going to get no argument from them. They ain't got nothing to argue with me about. They make up stuff to tell you. I give you facts. So, but anyway, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave me direction. And that's just another way of saying I didn't get that from these people overseas. I got that from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He taught me direction. And as the Abraham and Ishmael prayed for, and show us our way of devotion, which way to go, which direction to go. And he gave me strength. The strength was the knowledge and understanding that he shared with me. Strength and direction. And it's like people trying to come and get me to accept their guidance. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that this is a new world of Islam coming in, not the old world of Islam, but a new world of Islam. Well, if I even can let you hear, if you doubt my words, when Professor Baghdadi was in 1975, he gave us greetings from the world of the East, and they referred to us as the new soldiers of Allah. You see, he said, you are the new soldiers of Allah, and the Quran teaches that the new soldiers of Allah will be victorious, will be successful. And you notice you hear a lot of them talking about me behind my back, but to come in here and have an intelligent back and forth conversation with me, they question me and I question them. They don't do that. You know why? You remember that one that came in here talking about he wants to cut somebody's head off and he wants to cut somebody's hands off? A thief, you cut his hands off? Well, how in the world is the man going to repent if you cut his hand off? Now you someone that you have to take care of. And then when I explained to him that cutting off his hand didn't literally mean cutting his hand off physically, it meant the same thing that you mean and what we say when we say, hey, man, lend me a hand over here. That means give me some help. I mean, don't help the thief. What is helping him? If he steals something and he offered to you to buy it from him for a very generous price, tell him I don't want it if you give it to me. I don't want it. You stole it, and stealing is wrong. And if there's no, then that thief will stop stealing. You understand? But that made too much sense to him because he had murder in his heart. He's one of them bloody men that David said, depart from me, therefore, you bloody man. Huh? Yeah, he loves shedding blood. The thing that the Lord hates. The book says these 6 things that the Lord hates. And one that shed innocent blood. And I told you that all flesh is innocent because flesh can't do nothing but what it's ordered to do by that wicked mind that is dictating to it. So when you kill the flesh, you actually kill the innocent one. What can you do about the mind that's directing that flesh? I'm showing you what I can do about them. They hide. Huh? Come on in here and talk to me with a civil tongue in your mouth, and I will show you that I'll make you bear witness to the truth that I'm speaking. And while you sitting there, you won't have no choice but to bear me witness. And if I can't do it, I'll give you $20,000. I asked that one that came in here, I got to keep bringing it up because it's a good example. Want to come and try to dictate to me how to raise my baby, right? And I told him, I said, will you let, I didn't ask him, will he let me do it? I said, would you let President Obama or the president of the United States come and tell you how to raise your children? He got eerily quiet, didn't he? But he shut his mouth at me after that, didn't he? So if they wouldn't let the president come and tell them how to raise their child, what does that tell you? That all them white people and the Negroes who might have been following them, what does that tell you about their mind and what they must have been thinking when they called up here and when they wrote all that foolishness and garbage about me chastising my own baby? That's the way they did us when they thought we belonged to them, wasn't it? With their property. Man claimed he set us free, but he ain't gave us no land, did he? Claimed that he freed the Liberians, but he didn't teach them nothing about exporting all their rubber and all their iron to America. How come they not utilizing that and building themselves usable implements to build their country up? No, Huh? Dumbed them down and then pushed them out. Ain't no sense in what? What is it? You got your phone unmuted. What do you want to say? I guess to change your mind. Now, as I said, let's get back to the picture here. See the little baby there? See the baby right here? There's strength, direction and strength. And then you look at the little young man there. You see that book there? Knowledge and experience. First must he suffer many things. What does experience many things? So I've experienced many things. Now this is something that WD put out there. You see? And so I've gained knowledge and experience. You know, people, you have to acknowledge, even yourself, that many times you hear people come in here and they be arguing or trying to argue with me, and you'd hear them, and after a while you say, why don't he just go and cut that man off? That man ain't talking about nothing. And but you would have never known he wasn't talking about nothing if I hadn't entertained his conversation to show you that he didn't know what he was talking about. You see? Do you understand? And I remember once Mr. Donahue, Phil Donahue, when that lady called up getting on him about Minister Farrakhan, about bringing Minister Farrakhan on. And now I'm not saying I agree with what the woman was saying, but Donahue, when she was fussing, why you let that bringing this man on? He's a bigot. And Phil Donahue said, well, how do you know he's a bigot? She said, listen to him. He you know, he said, well, how you gonna know what somebody is if you can't make no judgment about them if you don't hear them, right? Okay, so I've learned that if you know the truth, if you really know the truth, you don't have to fear to have conversations with people. If you are seeking the truth, no, if you are seeking the truth, fear to have conversations with people. It's only when you are trying to hide the truth that you have to fear to get in certain conversations with people. Do you understand? You see? And so that's why you don't find these people coming in here to get in conversations with me. I mean, these pictures was right out the book there. She gave birth to a man child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, meaning the child didn't come out ruling, but he was destined to rule. See, I'm ruling now. But back in 75, I couldn't stand up here and talk like this to you. I didn't know what I know now. I didn't know that back then. I didn't know none of this. I was a baby in my understanding. And child. Do you understand? Okay, she gave birth to a man child. And you know, but now I put away childish thinking. You know, thinking that just because I saw somebody with white skin that made them devil. I mean, I got a man right back here behind me with that kind of skin, and he was the one who brought salvation to me, because he brought the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who brought me what that man brought him. And so the messenger, he kept that picture for a reason. He knew I would eventually grow up and realize that skin don't determine what you are, any more than the clothes that you wear determine what kind of person you are. Do you understand? Okay, so the little boy looking up at the book, it says, and I beheld, and lo, a hand was sent unto me, and a roll of a book was therein. And that's what that showed me. That's what went through my mind when I saw that picture. And so he was here to give me knowledge and experience. I couldn't get that staying at home, staying up in there with them, claiming that the messenger lied. I had to get out of there. And so he ran me out of there. Do you understand? And I began going around teaching and arguing with people, getting the experience that I would get. Rejection. First must he experience many things and be rejected of this generation. And that's what happened. You see, you notice ain't nobody got nothing to say with what I'm saying here. Remember I said that they only hide if they don't come face me, because they are interested in hiding the truth, so they hide from me and pretend they don't that they don't know nothing about there, listening secretly, wishing that they could find something that they could come in and condemn me with. Do you understand? And the great man and the rich man, the kings of the earth and the mighty man and the rich man, all of them sought to hide themselves in the rock mountains and in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains, and said, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne. So now I want to talk with you a little bit about something I promised. I had told you that I was going to talk about the majority rule and that kind of thing. And come in here, you all who into these politics and whatnot. Come in here and tell us what the majority rule is. You see, you don't realize that you trying to practice something, and then when someone asks you about it, do you really understand what it is? You see? And if you don't really know what it is, then how are you going to be effective in your participation? You see, you think that majority rule is one thing, and actually it's something altogether different. You see, many people think that's talking about the masses, when it's not. It's not talking about the masses. Not really. It's just like if the you know why John Boehner, turn that one off. You know why John Boehner is the Speaker of the House? Because the majority of the people in the House of Representatives are. So the House is a Republican. If more Democrats are in the House of Representatives than Republicans, then the Speaker of the House would be a Democrat. Do you understand? Now, that's one meaning of majority rule. But majority rule is a rule also. What is the majority rule? That the majority carries the last word. That's the rule. Do you understand? Not mob rule, majority rule. You know, many people think, you notice when I'm trying to show you that he didn't teach me, he know he didn't teach me that. If he had taught me, you would know. Because I'd have got mine from the same place you got yours. But remember what it said, he that is from above is above all. Tell me something, if a thief is running and going on and you on the ground and he turned the corner, after he turned that corner, you don't know what way he went out. But if you're in the helicopter and the thief turned whatnot, do it do him any good? Because you can see where he going, huh? Yeah. He that's from above. Now, see, how do you know that the knowledge that I have from Allah is above the knowledge that he has? I'm explaining to you his way of ruling. Let him come in here and explain the books that I'm claiming to be authority on. Let him come in here and explain the Bible and the Holy Quran. And if he can't, then what does that say about his knowledge and my knowledge? Okay. So now that majority rule. Now, if you look at a mob only looks like a bunch of people together. They look like one majority. But if you go through there and question them, you find out that they are all individuals. They're not a body. They are a mass. Do you understand? They call the common people in America the masses. Huh? Yeah, we get there, ain't we? All right. Now, so I want you to understand that the way that they talk to the masses is not the way they talk behind closed doors. They know that they can manipulate the masses as much as you can do this. The mind can manipulate the fingers. You see that? See what I'm doing? Let me see you do it. You can do it. With yours. Can't you manipulate your fingers? The masses. If they had followed the advice of George Washington, you wouldn't be able to be manipulated so easily. Because I want to show you that that he gave you some good advice that if you had followed, it would have been impossible for people to misdirect you. I want to see if I can find some of his last words. He says, I like if I'm you know, a lot of times people say, well, why don't he have all this stuff ready? Because I don't know what I'm going to talk about till I get up here. You know, I'm not like you. I don't, you know, a man that claims he's of God, he don't have to prepare no speech. God gives him his speech. If he that God sends speaks whose words? If you sit down and write you a speech out, you're not speaking God's words, you're speaking yours. And so I'm not that person to stand up here just to speak off of myself. I always ask Allah to give me what I need to share with you. And I've already read this to you before, so if I don't hurry up and find it, I'll just go from what I remember. Because remember, George Washington said that since your government is purely elective, then since you depend on the people to elect the government, then should not that people that you depend on to elect government be enlightened? And so he encouraged them to, on page 6, I hope this is, let me see. There's a, that what? I got this one, and it's not on page 6 here. Read some more what it says. Here it is. I got it. There is an opinion that parties in free countries are useful checks upon the administration of the government and serve to keep alive the. Yes, they can do. There's an opinion that they can do that. It says this within certain limits is probably true. Of a monarch, patriotism may look with indulgence upon such things, if not with favor upon the spirit of party. Because of the popular character in governments purely elective, it is a spirit not to be encouraged. You notice, changed America from the United States of America to the blue and the red states. And they were able to do that by dumbing you down. And happened to the slave. It said, look, you must take the slave and their differences You must make them bigger than they really are. Old against young and the young against the old. That's what they've done to America now. You know, Grover Norquist called the Democratic people parasites. They are and you went for it. You are, he says, from a spirit partisanship. From their natural tendency, it is certain there will always be enough of that spiritary purpose. And there being constant success, the effort ought to be by force of public opinion to mitigate and assuage it. Assuage it means to keep it down and in check, that you don't start being more loyal to a party than you are to your country. It says, a fire not to be quenched, it demands a uniform vigilance to prevent its bursting into, lest instead of warming, it should consume. You notice partisanship has consumed America now. It's consuming America. It is important, likewise, that the habits of thinking in a free country should inspire caution to those entrusted with its administration to confine themselves within their respective constitutional spheres. That's not really what I was looking for. I was looking for where George Washington had admonished them that the educational system of your country, you should make sure that you keep funded the educational institutions that disseminate the truth to the people, that disseminate knowledge to the people, because you got your public is electing officials, then you want that public to be enlightened, so that just any old con man can't stand up and trick them into supporting him. I don't care how much money he got. But look what you did. Let me show you. Anytime a man is comfortable standing up in front of you, let me show you something that I was telling you about the president. Now I want you to look at this and listen.
Inauguration Day. Prepared to take the oath, Senator? I, Barack Hussein Obama. I, Barack Hussein Obama, do solemnly swear. It is one of the most public events for a U.S. president. Preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. Preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. So help you God.
Did he say preserve and protect and defend the Democratic Party? Did he say, does the president take an oath to preserve, protect, and defend the Republican Party? Does he say he takes an oath to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States? Is that what he took an oath to do? You heard John Boehner say he takes the same. That's not so. Because it's not so in the sense that he does not have the same powers that the president has. It is the president's duty not to make the law. But after that law is made, the president's duty is to use his power to make sure that that law is upheld, to enforce that law, right? Now you know what the purpose of the federal government is. The federal government is the central power of the whole United States. That when the states, at some point you get somebody in the states that thinks that he can just push the Constitution aside and make some laws that the Constitution don't go along with. If you didn't have the federal government, if you didn't have the president with the power that is entrusted to him to make sure he preserves the Constitution, then states with crooked governors and stuff. You remember George Wallace? George Wallace said that he don't care what the Constitution said. You wasn't gonna get nobody, no black people walking in these doors here. And the President Kennedy sent federal troops there and said, "Oh yes, we are." Is that right? To show you that the president's power, it's an empty oath if you reduce the federal government to a point where it don't know what you're doing. Huh? Now, listen to Grover Norquist here. I want y'all to pay attention now, because, you know, Allah said he made me a warner. He said, "Son of man," he said, "Son of man, I have made thee a warner to the house of Israel." That's just another way of saying everybody who got the mind of Jacob, I'm here to warn you. Jacob was called a worm. And it's time for that mindset that you had of Jacob. It's time for you to let that die. And let that mind become a new creature. If you don't, you're going to be eradicated. Yeah. Listen to this. I'll let you get it straight from the horse's mouth. You just saw and heard the president's oath that he takes to preserve and defend the Constitution of the United States of America, right? That's the oath he took. And the federal government, you notice, they send federal troops in there to do what's got to be done, right? Okay. Now, this man, you notice when they had a depression, I think it was Roosevelt who set the WP, all of this, to deal with things that you know, all of them people that was unemployed and all of that kind of thing. There was no unemployment insurance. There was nothing. And so the need was seen, and the president used his power to establish certain things so that wouldn't happen again, right? Now listen to your boy here.
Deficit reduction has just 3 days to reach a deal eliminating at least $1.2 trillion from the nation's debt, using some combination of cutting spending and raising taxes. The person at the heart of those negotiations, and some would say the person responsible for the deadlock, is neither a member of Congress nor the holder of any public office. He's a lobbyist and a conservative activist named Grover Norquist, who over the years has gotten virtually every Republican congressman and senator to sign an oath called the Pledge. It's a promise that they will never, under any circumstances, vote to raise taxes on anyone. And so far, Grover Norquist has held them to it, controlling 279 votes, the Speaker of the House, the Senate Minority Leader, and all 6 Republican members of the Joint Committee on Deficit Reduction. A lot of people think you're the most powerful man.
The tax issue is the most powerful issue in American politics going back to the Tea Party. People say, oh, Grover Norquist had power. And Americans for tax reform focus on the tax issue. The tax issue is a powerful issue.
Grover Norquist is trying to be modest. Since creating Americans for Tax Reform at Ronald Reagan's behest back in 1985, Norquist has been responsible more than anyone else for rewriting the dogma of the Republican Party.
The Republicans won't raise your taxes. We haven't had a Republican vote for a income tax increase.
And this is what you're doing.
I helped. Yeah.
It began with a simple idea of getting Republicans all over the country to sign an oath called the Taxpayer Protection Pledge, promising their constituents that they would never, ever vote for anything that would make their taxes go up.
Speaker Gingrich's tax pledge back in 1998.
And once they signed the pledge, Grover Norquist never forgets. The more signatures he's collected, the more his influence has grown.
I think to win a Republican primary, it is difficult to imagine somebody winning a primary without taking the pledge.
The signatories not only include more than 270 members of Congress, but all of the Republican presidential candidates with the lone exception of John Huntsman.
Okay, folks, we want to get going?
All that leverage has made Norquist's Wednesday breakfast meetings a must-attend event for Republican operatives fortunate enough to get an invitation. David Keene, the president of the National Rifle Association, was there the day we attended, along with conservative columnist John Fund.
This is the Grand Central Station of the conservative movement.
We were told it was the first members who have ever been allowed into the weekly off-the-record strategy session.
Our approach is going to be to just simply drill away every day.
As people from Capitol Hill, House and Senate, business groups, everybody who wants the government to be smaller and everybody who wants the government to live more. I intend to win. I intend to be part of the whole effort to crush the other team.
Grover Norquist has been called both the dark wizard of the right's anti-tax cult and the single most effective conservative activist in the country. He is a libertarian ideologue who believes that Washington is controlling our lives through the taxes it raises to fund big. He said that he wants to shrink it to the size where it could be drowned in a bathtub. You want to drown it in the bathtub?
No, we want it down to the size to where it would fit in the bathtub. And then it could worry about what we were up to.
And you did say that your ultimate ambition was to chop it in half and then shrink it again to where we were at the turn of the century. You're talking about 1900, not 2000.
Well, I think
8% of GDP.
Yeah, we function in this country with government at 8% of GDP for a long time and quite well.
That was before Social Security. It was before Medicare assistance, unemployment assistance. Is that the federal government you envision?
Each of these government programs was set up supposedly in name to solve a problem. Okay.
You know, our biggest problem is we were never taught, we never learned how to listen. Now here this man talking about shrinking the federal government back size before America became a world power, what you call a superpower. What is he actually telling you he wants to do? He wants to take your power away, right? He wants to reduce you back to the time before Adolf Hitler, before all of these things. He wants to, that's like somebody telling you they want to put you back to the way you was when you was 14 years old. Huh? If I got it wrong, come on in here and straighten me out. All y'all supporters of this excuse for a patriot. You call a man. You know, I remember this lady told me she didn't like what I was teaching. A black lady. She called me up. I was on the air in Natchez back in the 80s. And she said, "You going to hell with your eyes wide open." And I thought about what she said. You know, I always listen to people when they fussing at me. I say, well, I say, if I go, that's the way to go. I sure ain't going with my eyes closed. And so here, this Grover Norquist, ain't no way he would have came out and said nothing like that if he thought your eyes was open and that you could hear. And the interviewer, he did a good job. I hear this man standing up there bragging that he wants the federal government not to be able, how in the world going to uphold the Constitution if the federal government don't know what the states is doing? That's part of the check and balance system of America. You don't have a constitution if there's no one to uphold it, to make sure that look, your body is like that. You know, a lot of times people say, I felt like I was coming down with something. I said, but my constitution was strong and it threw it off. Huh? Because in weak, whenever you have very little knowledge of understanding, brother and sister, you know what a weak mind is? It's a mind that has very little knowledge and understanding that is necessary to accomplish any particular goal or to provide for any particular need. How wise you are in certain areas, wherever you need protection or a remedy, and your mind don't have that understanding, then you have a weak spot. You have a weak mind in that area. And that's how germs enter into the body, through weak members. That your constitution, the weaker the members, the however many members you have that are weak and full of what you call disease, or full of, then that weakens your that's your constitution is weak. Do you understand that your constitution is your whole body's ability to defend? And so when the body has a strong constitution, then when viruses or germs find their way in, then the body can resist them. You understand? You may feel a little symptoms, and then it may be just a 24-hour virus and your body done dealt with it. Huh? Okay. The United States is set up like the body. They don't tell you that, but that's what all of them check and balances are. That's what you got state government, then you got local government. You got the local government, they deal with things, and if they get out of order, the state can step in and say, hey, you can't do that, right? And then the state get out of order and the federal will step in and say, no, the Constitution won't let you do that. Huh? And that's the way it's designed. You notice they don't say I'm not telling you right. And if I got it wrong, then why is he worried about reducing the federal government? Because if you want to really overthrow America from within, the first thing you want to do is get rid of the one that can stop you. They already got you divided against each other. Blue states and red states. You gonna tell me there are no Democrats in Texas? Then how do you call it a red state? There are no Democrats and there are no Republicans in Pennsylvania. Well, how do you call that a blue state? You listening to these people who dividing you. I told you I ain't got no dog in the hunt against the country of my birth. You the one that's all sick and full of poison. And I could have healed you if you had let me. But you resist being wise. You take pride in being a fool. I mean, and the sad part is after they get through manipulating people like Rush Limbaugh and Glenn Beck and all these what they call right-wing people, behind closed doors, they refer to them as stupid rednecks. They wouldn't take Rush Limbaugh to no meeting with no head of state nowhere. He'd be an embarrassment to them. But he don't have sense enough to know that all he's doing is being used as a tool to tear down that which has provided him with so much wealth and good, and he's being used as a wrecking ball to wreck the very country that provided him that forum that he has. Huh? He's being used like a cancer. How come don't none of y'all come in here and tell me I got it wrong? And if I got it right, why are you still listening to people like that? Why don't you tell that man to shut his mouth? Why don't you, matter of fact, get in there and tell him, look, Rush, hey, man, you got a right to do what you're doing, bro. But you need to do some research, bro. You need to realize that what you're doing is not even your own thing. You being manipulated, man. What, you think patriotism, your patriotism is for sale? You don't care what you get on the air and say, no matter what the damage is doing to unenlightened minds, as long as you get paid. I know I can't talk too loud because a lot of my people doing the same thing. They don't care how they get out and portray themselves or whatnot, as long as they getting a check. They get paid. They don't, and you won't reach back. You won't help me to help us. I didn't ask you for nothing for me. I asked you to help me to help us. And all you got is some excuses. If you really thought you had a legitimate cry against me, I'd hear your mouth. I'd hear you saying what's your reason for not joining with me to help me get our people up. But your major reason is because you don't think the one who writing your checks would approve. It ain't because I'm trying to do nothing wrong. And this man sit up here and listen to him trying to double talk, but he done already told you what he really want to do. Listen.
Then I could worry about what we're up to.
I mean, you did say that your ultimate, both the dark wizard of the right's anti-tax cult and the single most effective conservative activist in the. He is a libertarian ideologue who believes that Washington is controlling our lives through the taxes it raises to fund big government. And he said that he wants to shrink it to the size where it could.
You know, they have made the term control, they have that into a bad word, just like the word compromise. Do you know what laws are designed for? Do you know what a law is actually designed for? It's designed to control, to regulate. Is that what you really want? You want a country without law? And you know, what about people who don't care about other people's rights? That's how you want to live? You want to live in a country where people just do what they please when they please? You don't want no control. You don't say you don't want no control when you get on an airplane. You want that man to control that plane, so you can get safely. If you trying to go from Mississippi to California, you don't want to wind up in Australia. You want someone to have some control over what you signed up for. They have an old saying, and it's true, that yes, you have freedom. But in order for freedom to work, your neighbor has to have the same and enjoy the same freedom. So your freedom stops where another person's freedom begins. You cannot encroach on other people's freedoms while claiming you should have the freedom to do so. That's why you need to have government. I don't say all government is just. I don't say all government is good. But without government, they call that anarchy. And one thing about it, if you don't like something, the way that this system was set up, it was set up that if you don't like something, there's remedies. There's a way to remedy it without burning your house down. You remember what I told you about people who are always trying to second guess the president? I'm going to show you why what I said was true. But yes.
So yes, somebody on Twitter, a supporter of Grover Norquist, says, I put about as much confidence in religious leaders as I do in a box that loose.
Well, tell him that I agree with him. that I don't put no trust in religious leaders either. If he's been listening to me, he knows that I just said that these religious people are some of the worst people that's out here. Now, if he has a disagreement with something that I'm teaching, if he can show that I'm one of these people who don't have the people's best interests at heart, come in here and let's discuss it and let me hear his evidence. You support Grover Norquist in calling, and how does it, what do you want to change the name of America to? You want to change it from the United States to what? Because with the way Grover Norquist is talking to you, he's got the Republicans and the Democrats as enemies to each other. He don't talk to you like you're brethren. He wants you to be enemies to one another. You don't call your brother a parasite. So what is your purpose? And call Skype. Is he here in America or is he outside the country? He must be in America because if he's supporting Grover Norquist, and if you outside of America, then maybe you are one of the enemies of America. You see, I know that people can be misled, you know, but a person who's really seeking to be right, when you show them that they are being misled, they're not angry with you. They thank you. You see, I mean, when he said that he don't trust none of these religious people, if I trusted these religious people, I'd be teaching what they teaching. You don't hear nobody teaching like me but me. So if you got a problem with something that I'm saying, at least I'm willing to discuss it with you. You can't say that about all these other religious people. And if you can show me with facts that I'm wrong, but understand something. Opinions are not facts. Once it's a fact, it is not private. Opinions are what are privately held. Facts stand alone. Now listen to Grover Norquist again.
Be drowned in a bathtub. You want it right in the bathtub?
No, we want it down to the size to where it would fit in the bathtub. And then it could worry about what we're up to.
Did you hear those words? Who has direct authority over the federal government? Isn't that the president? Well, he can't tell you that he wants to reduce the power of the president. But when he says he wants to reduce the size of the federal government, that's actually what he's telling you. And he said, and then they can sit around and worry about what we are doing. Is that what you want your president to be? Someone who has to worry about whether the Constitution is being upheld? Or do you want your president to be what you elected him to be? The man who took an oath to use his power to make sure that the Constitution remains intact and strong. Come on in here and tell me what I'm saying that you disagree with. You sitting up out there typing all this stuff in there. Come in here and tell me what I'm saying that you disagree with. The only thing you disagree with is my skin color. That's what you upset about. You are a fool. I mean, who don't know that? Go there and ask your scientists where did all life begin. They say in Africa. That's what they say. Well, what does that tell you? The black man and woman is your father and mother. You got a hell of a nerve coming up in here just talking to me like you got some disdain for me, when you wouldn't even be here if I wasn't here. You see, you can't even reason with these people. Now, he typed that, print it out so I can read it to the people. You know, he typed that stuff in there. And then when he have to agree with me, I told you, if they come in here, I can make them agree. If he don't agree, then he make himself sound like a fool. Do you want the United States of America or the divided states of America? Then if there can be no unity where there is no agreement. Man telling you he want to put you back, reduce the federal government back to the size before America developed an open door policy, before America became a superpower, before America became, are you out of your mind? But you know, trying to reason with a child is an effort in futility. They've already degraded your education and reduced you to the level where people can curse and swear and show you all kind of filth and evil, and you sit up there. It's just like when I was a little boy. When I was a little boy, it made my day to be able to sit somewhere and look up under some sister's dress. Yeah. That was the extent of my desires, me and the rest of the little fellas, always trying to get a peek. And the extent of your, you know, the news media that they call news media, they done got you to the point where you always want to look up under the dress of government and all of that kind of thing. You don't want people to govern you and look out for your interests. You want people that you can get up, that you can find fault in. That's what you want. You're not seeking to they done made you to the point where you're not even seeking to hear nothing good about the people that you elect to govern. The news media, you know, you know what the purpose of showing you all of the weaknesses, for instance, of the Secret Service? How long has a lot of this that you see coming out now been being done? The Secret Service, dating people and all that kind of stuff. How long you suppose that's been being done? You think it just started? I mean, you done forgot something. Where do you think you get Secret Service employees from? They don't come from Mars. They don't come from Venus. They come from the United States of America. Those are your sons and your daughters that you raised up. That's the pool that you're drawing from. And whatever character flaws or whatever moral flaws that they have, that came with them. But even they've still trained themselves to jump in front of a bullet for a stranger with the title president or with the title congressman or whatnot. You know, the reason that you always get the worst out of people is because that's all you looking for. And when people discover, you know how you make a person a patriot into someone who don't care? It's by the way you do them right now. No matter what they do of good, they never hear from you. And when they stumble, here you come with your aha, I got you. That's what you've been turned into. You've been turned into people who don't know how to show gratitude. You've been turned into people that the minute after you elect somebody, you see how much you can make fun of them and how much you can sling mud on them and ruin their reputation and all of that kind of thing. That's your thing, because you let the crooked people, you know, the last thing that you ever should have done was let be monopolized by the highest bidder. You know, it should be against the law to put forth false advertisement, to put forth half-truths about people. And it should be beneath you as a nation to find the character flaws in your leaders and put it all over the world. The reason that the people who, I mean, let's face it. How many of you all got $85 million that you can just have laying around in a Foot Locker? You remember when they found Saddam Hussein and said that they found $85 million in the bunker with him, cash money? Now you think about that kind of money, and you think about people selling your media, your mass media outlets to the highest bidder. Who really controls your media in this country? You don't have to wonder who controls your media when you look at the effect that your media is having on your relationship with each other. Your relationship with one another is based on the information that's coming to you. And whenever people just constantly show you embarrassing moments Hey, bro, what's that about? Why don't y'all get that straight? Why all of a sudden now, whenever people show you embarrassing moments of your leadership, are you aware that they are purposely undermining your trust in your leadership? And when there's a breakdown of trust between those who lead and those over which they are leading, then once you have distrust there, then you have a breakdown in their relationship to one another. And that's what's going on in this country right now. Now, why all of a sudden do we have all of this feedback, brother? And it was doing fine before I started explaining to you this. You know, people can say what they want about J. Edgar Hoover. But one thing, when he was around here, it's just certain things that the media wasn't going to go out there and put in no public, because he knew it was to the state of this union. And he was right in that. There's certain things you don't go out, just like Noah's 3 sons. As they gave you that little story where they saw him drunk and naked, and one of the sons just looked at him and he was cursed. But the other 2 never looked on their father's nakedness. They backed up and covered it. You know, and that is the best way. It's things that I knew of my own father and my own mother that I would not get out in no public and talk about. And no sane man would. That's called honoring your father and your mother. You always talk about we, the people of the United States, in order to form a union. Is what Grover Norquist doing helping to perpetuate the union? Or is it helping to or seeking to undermine the union? Just come on, talk to me, man. Here he wants the president to not be able. That thing ain't working, man. I tried it last night. That thing ain't working with mine. He said he don't want the federal government to know what they doing. How in the world is the federal government going to protect your rights and going to preserve the Constitution in every state in the union if they don't know what's going on? That didn't come from my mouth, it came from his. He wants the government to wonder what they are doing. Okay. Well, you know, I know you hate me. You love him. Okay. Right on. But like I said, the ice still melting. And the book says that the nations was angry at me. Hey, all of them mad. You know, I know you don't like what I'm saying. None of you called me a liar yet. If I'm saying something that's not true, come on in here and show it to us. Show us what we're saying that's not true. You all hurry up and get on back here and get this thing, because I want to show something else. We have a lot to share with you that we don't want nobody to be able to say that what we said was not true, and we didn't give you no evidence. You hear him. Watch how he tries to double talk when he's asked point blank questions.
I think 8% of GDP.
Yeah, we function in this country with government at 8% of GDP for a long time and quite well.
That was before Social Security, it was before Medicare, it was before welfare assistance, unemployment assistance. Is that the federal government you envision?
Each of these was set up supposedly to solve a problem. Okay, do they solve the problem? Does the problem be better solved through individual initiative? I mean, I think we found under...
Was an individual initiative what was being done before all of those programs were set up? And what was the Constitution established for? It was established to promote the general welfare. To provide for the common defense. For the common defense, meaning not, the federal government ain't just over one state. The federal government is the defense over all of the states in the union to provide for the common defense. Because what happens if the state begins to bowl over the rights, the constitutional rights of the citizens? The federal government steps in and says, no, you're not going to do that. That's what the Constitution was established for, in order to form a more perfect unity among the people who are members of the United States. Do you understand? And so, your problem is you wanted to make it to black, and because we have been asleep so that you could rule, you wanted to make it appear that the black man is just incapable of having thoughts equal to or greater than your own. The only reason you looked as smart as you did was because we were asleep. You even sit up on the History Channel and you show those pyramids and those structures that were built. And you don't like to say, well, this is what the black man built before he went to sleep. These kind of things. The King Tut exhibits and all of those things that you would rather say that could be aliens from when you say aliens, well, most people, they think you're talking about from some other planet or whatnot. But alien is what all of the messengers of God were to your world. We are aliens to you. As Jesus said, my kingdom is what? Not of this world. Is alien to your world. And that's the truth. It's like the way I'm standing up here teaching you is alien to the way you're used to being taught. You used to just saying things. When people have little comments they have to say about what a speaker is saying, especially if he's a religious or a philosopher or somebody like that, they make a comment and they are never invited, just a common person that makes a comment. They are never invited by that person. Well, come in here and let me hear what you have to say. I do that and nobody shows up. That's alien to you, to actually have to answer for what came out of your mouth. But the word of God told you that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account of it in the day of judgment. I can't stand up here and tell you that I'm bringing the truth, and someone challenge or say something derogatory about something that I bring, and I don't invite them to come in and put forth their arguments that justify their statements. If you have a statement you want to make to me, then you be ready to back it up with evidence or keep your mouth shut. Don't come in here barking at me. But if you have a legitimate argument, then let's hear it, so that I can bear you witness. Oh, yeah, this man, you want to tell me you trying to tear up your, trying to put the House of Representatives that's supposed to be there representing the whole United States. There's John Boehner come out there saying he's the Speaker of the whole House. Well, then we act like it and speak for the whole House. Let me show you that I have evidence to show you as to why you should not be out there call yourself second guessing. Second guessing the President of the United States in matters of foreign affairs and all of that kind of thing. Let me show you why.
One little known fact, the president's chair is higher than the other chairs in the cabinet room. The president's chair is elevated above the others just a little bit because it's an odd-shaped table. It's not quite oval, but close. It comes close, and some people could
remember in the movie King Arthur. You know, his was a round table. But you notice the president's office is oval, and the table that he sit at is oval. It's just like whenever a man, if he had the skill to maneuver his way to the Oval Office, then they say he has earned the right to dictate the direction of the country, just like a life germ that through all of those millions, sometimes, or hundreds of thousands of life germs, finds its way and with a team gets into the ovum of the woman. It has a right to become a new human being. It begins to change that egg into a new human being. That is the principle behind the office of president and the power that goes with it. Then he is to be allowed to determine the direction of the nation. And so he's allowed to take with him many advisors and whatnot, just like that life germ brings with it those 24, I should say 23 chromosomal bodies. And then it takes into that egg with it, it has it and begins to reshape that egg, right? Okay. Now, let's, I'm not going to dwell on that because that's not really what I want to talk to you about. I want you to see what kind of information the president alone is privy to, that none of the rest of the Congress or none of us out here know anything about. So let me show you.
See him as the president's chair is higher. While normal business is conducted on the ground floor, concealed in the basement of the West Wing is the Situation Room, also known as the Sit Room. A 5,000 square foot complex staffed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to monitor events of national security. This is where the president oversees dangerous covert operations.
This is the watch floor of the White House Situation Room, and the watch floor's commodity is situational awareness. We're a fusion center, meaning that we fuse approximately 2,000 pieces of information every day. This particular room in the White House Situation Room is the opportunity to provide privacy for the president if he's making a head of state phone call from the Situation Room itself. And what we'll do is we'll be able to fog the windows to give him that level of privacy.
The Situation Room was first established in 1961 by President John F. Kennedy. At the time, JFK was dealing with a Bay of Pigs invasion in Cuba, when he insisted that all incoming intelligence be fed directly to the White House. Most recently, the situation President Barack Obama, Vice President Joe Biden, and members of his national security team received critical updates on the secret mission to capture Osama bin Laden.
Be able to fog the windows to give him that level of privacy.
This was first established in 1961 by President John F. Kennedy. At the time, JFK was dealing with a Bay of Pigs invasion in Cuba.
You remember when I showed you where John F. Kennedy had depended on his generals and the people that were around him that were actually, he inherited a lot of those people from Eisenhower and them, and got him involved in something that he found out later he shouldn't have did. He decided that he, in order to do his job, he wasn't going to trust information that people brought him from what they got. He wanted all that information to be at his disposal. You understand? Since he was the one the buck was going to stop with, if I'm going to be blamed, he was saying, then I'm going to know what's going on without some hearsay. Do you understand? Because those fellas maneuvered him into doing something in the Bay of Pigs that became a very big embarrassment. Huh? So look at all of the information that he started having fed directly to the president.
When he insisted that all incoming intelligence be fed directly to the White House. Most recently, the Situation Room is where President Barack Obama, Vice President Joe Biden, and members of his national security team received critical updates on the secret mission to capture Osama bin Laden.
So what is all of this stuff that these people coming out there getting up in the news telling you that the president should have did this and he should have did that, that didn't have no information about why he did what he did? They wasn't privy to the information that the president had. Huh? All these tunnel vision people trying to tell, you know what tunnel vision is? It means you see where you're trying to go, but you can't see all of the things that's on the side of your path that may be dangerous for you to try to get to that. Huh? When you can only see where you're trying to get, but really what it's going to take to get you there. Just go and grab it. Yeah. Yeah, it looks, it's just like people talking about, well, we're going to go to the moon. Yeah, but the moon, well, where's the moon? Well, there it is right there. It ain't going to be there in a minute. It's going to be somewhere else. The moon is moving. So in order to reach the moon, you got to know where it's going to be at a certain point, and you're going to have to know how fast you're going to have to travel in order to get where it's going to be. And how fast can you travel? Well, then, where will the moon be in relationship to how fast you can travel so that you can meet it at that position? It's more to going there than just saying, I want to get there. And if you elected a man to be president, now they told you how it went with George Bush. When George Bush said, we going into Iraq, the majority in Congress, which was rightly so, the majority in there said, okay, that's what you want to do, we going. Why? Because he was the president and he had information, at least he was supposed to have information that they didn't have. And they could not second guess him when they didn't have all of the information that he had. Do you understand? You notice, ain't none of them coming in here saying, where's all these people that always call themselves gonna tell me how to raise my child and everything? Why don't they come in here and show you that I don't know nothing else either? The scripture says if a man ain't gonna rule over God's house, he ought to learn how to rule his own house well. Now, as long as my children are children, I treat them like children. I say what I want done, they do it. When they get up to the point where they grown and can make decisions on whether or not they want to continue to follow my guidance, as my other followers have done, on their own. If they don't want my guidance, I say, let the door hit you. Goodbye. But if they choose to stay with me in this cause, they will obey me like they have always done. And I don't make no apologies for having authority over that which I'm building. Any man that has authority and is afraid to exercise it don't need it. Now, sometimes the exercising of the authority may cause more harm than good. Then it's intelligent to refrain until the proper hour. Do you understand? I understand those things. There are always exceptions to rules. God himself made an exception to a rule. The wages of sin is death. Well, what if he repent? Well, there's an exception there. If he repent, he shall live. Huh? Okay. What if it was known that the wages of sin is death? Then all of us would be lost. Right? We come here sinning. We have no choice. We come here ignorant. And if you come here ignorant, naturally you're going to be breaking laws. Right? Okay. So all praises due to Allah. So I want to read to you what this man wrote here. He said, I put much rancid butter. That's his Twitter username. He said, I put about as much confidence in religious leaders as I do in a fox let loose in a hen house. It's all based on myths used to frighten people. Christian, Islam, Buddhist, pick a flavor. They all share one goal: crowd control and frightening people. I have no interest in debating someone who would use myths to frighten people or someone who calls himself the Son of Man. Tell him not to waste his breath. Well, if it's a waste of breath, why is he out there listening? And if he wasn't interested in talking with me, why did he write this? On the outside are dogs, and everyone that loveth and maketh up a lie. Didn't I offer $20,000 if you could prove that what I'm teaching is not the truth? You heard a Christian do that. You heard a Buddhist do that. You heard even them people over there in the East that call themselves Muslims. Have they ever offered you that? I notice you're not coming in here, rancid butter. You know what rancid means? It means spoiled, gone bad. And so he says, tell him not to waste his breath. Just because I may not agree with Grover Norquist on all issues doesn't mean I'm going to be mesmerized by some cult leader. I can say with all certainty that Grover Norquist won't be mesmerized either. You'll need to do more than spout religious claptrap to convince people like Grover Norquist or myself. I'm not trying to convince you of anything. When you warn somebody, are you trying to convince them of something? When one of them warning bells go off from a nuclear power plant, are they trying to convince you? Or are they giving you justice to give yourself a chance to convince yourself that you better do something? See, didn't I tell you these people think that they're doing me a favor to listen to me? Do I sound like I'm up here trying to force something on you? You know, when people try to force something on you, they don't want to hear back from you. They want to tell it to you and cram it down your throat. The only thing who you trying to convince? You trying to convince me that I'm teaching wrong through a letter that even the screen name that you chose makes you suspect. Rancid. But anyway, so but that's the kind of mind these people got. The mind, the level of consciousness that the average one of them is on. That's why America's falling. That's why they done messed around here and done messed the minds of their children up so much that now that they need intelligent people to work in their factories and in this intellectual world of computers and all of that kind of thing, they done dumb their people down so much that they can't find nobody to fill the position. You have no future. You did away with your future when you refused to properly enlighten your people. It's just like you, my people. The reason you don't have no future is because you reject knowledge. You live from one generation to the next, passing poverty from one generation to the next, and you haven't figured out why that's happening yet. And then I stood up here, and I'm standing up here now telling you why that's happening. It is because the knowledge that you have, you keep passing that same knowledge on to your future generations. And consequently, that which put you in the state or condition that you are in, you keep passing that on to your children. Just like somebody passing a disease from one person to another. You haven't figured out yet that the only reason that you can't change your condition is because you don't change your mind. Keep sending them to the same educational institutions that haven't did us no good. And all you can do is point to, he went to this school, he went to that school, or she went to that. It ain't never they, it's he. And you ain't figured out yet that that's the game that's being ran on you. Get one or two from each college and make them go up and then make it look like they really got something from that college there. You ain't get nothing from there. You see? And here you got the very people who teaching you that, and you think they so smart, and you notice they're all running from me. What for in this modern day and time? Here he could pick up the phone, unlimited long distance, and he could hold a conversation with me right now, real time. And he chooses to what? Punk out. Ain't that what the youngsters call it? He punked out. Be writing me no note. Come in here and talk to me like a man. But you can't meet me as a man. Because then people find out that you ain't no man. Because all of the knowledge that you've been acting on and perpetuating is nothing but a bunch of lies. You know what he was meaning when he was saying that I have no interest in debating someone who would use myths to frighten people. He's talking about the Holy Scriptures. He calls the Holy Scriptures a myth. You can get you $20,000 if you can come in here and I can't prove that the scriptures is not a myth. Come on in here. You point out the myth, and if I can't prove that it's not a myth, then I'll give you $20,000. I got all these witnesses listening here. So who really is the liar? Yeah, isn't this something? I never heard you say that everything that we was taught through America's school system was a myth. Let me see. Once upon a time, there was a little boy named Jack. And he and his mother lived together on a farm, and they were really hungry, and there wasn't nothing to eat. And Jack's mother sent him to with their cow to the market to sell the cow so that they could get food. Once upon a time. Now, is that the truth? Or was that a myth? He said, well, once upon a time, there was a little girl named Goldilocks. And she went into the woods and she found a empty house. And it belonged to 3 bears. And she sit there in the bear's house and ate up one of them's porridge. And the bears came home and said, somebody's been eating my porridge. And the mama bear said that. Is that the truth or was that a myth? Let's see here. There once was let me see here. It's been in y'all school. Let's see. What's some more of them myths that I was told about? Oh, there was once upon a time there was 3 little pigs, and they built a house out of straw, and a wolf came and blew the house down. And the 3 little pigs, after the wolf knocked on the door and they said, he said, let me in. He said, not by the hair of my chin chin chin. These pigs and wolves was talking, man. Huh? Was that a myth or was that the truth? And you tell me that what do you say? I have no interest in debating someone who would use myths to frighten people, or someone who calls himself the Son of Man. Tell him not to waste his breath. If it was a waste of my breath, you wouldn't have typed nothing. Obviously, I touched a nerve, and I touched you so much that you sit down and type the whole. What takes longer, to sit down and type something or to get on there and tell it and say it? He took sit down and type all of this. So how was it a waste of my breath? You see how even that was a myth. You know, I want all of you to know that every time you open your mouth with anything against me, I will use your words against you. You see? That the forces of nature are at my disposal too. And they are already working against you. Like I told you, that boy who killed Trayvon Martin, he ain't get away. You know, he been having hell ever since. His life is a living hell now. And everybody who went along with him, remember that woman that helped him, his wife, went along with the lie he told? Who did he turn on next? Her and her daddy, huh? Yeah. It's some things worse than death. Men will seek death, and death will flee from them. No, Allah ain't gonna let you die. Not yet. That's one of Allah's attributes, is that he is the granter of death. You're gonna understand why in a little while. Yeah. You'll be walking around here in a living hell. Oh yeah. You're gonna pay for all of this stuff that you're doing in my time. I'm gonna let you do. Did you know that in I think it was 1898 or 1890, I'll tell you in a minute, 1899 or 1898, the patent office was about to close its doors? Did you know that? That there was, and they said there would be no more invention? Did you know that? Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, do anybody disagree with me that considering all of the information that the president of the United States has that you don't have, is it intelligent on your part to be sitting up, call yourself second guessing him or condemning him for some decision he made? You know how you wind up knowing that the decision was bad or good? You find that out if you pay attention when he's not in there anymore and the next president comes in and starts making some changes. You understand? But Alexander had it right when he was he killed a captain who had slain his own king. When Alexander asked him, "Who have slain my enemy?" And the captain, he said, "Come forth that I may reward you." And when that captain came forth, Alexander slew him. And when he slew him, he said, "Only a king can slay a king." Their system of government is based on that statement by Alexander. A man has a right to a trial by a jury of his peers. Huh? And I'll tell you something else. Not so much as those who went before him, but those who come after him. Huh? I mean, it's certain things that even Jimmy Carter and Bill Clinton cannot make in way of judgment about Barack Obama. Why? Because even they are not privy to some of the things that he knows. Huh? And the issues of his time are different than the issues of their time. Okay. You notice President Obama don't spend his time speaking out against George Bush. But you notice the things that George Bush set in motion, he's been as quickly as he could to undo. Huh? And that is what he's supposed to do. Not so much as point fingers of blame, but solve the problem. Huh? You notice nobody is talking about Nobody is talking about the home situation, because the Gulf oil spill crisis was dealt with. The high unemployment rate has been dealt with. The banks messing around there and inflating the cost of housing and stuff and running rampant on that, that's been dealt with. You know, all of the things that they was complaining about, the trouble that the country was in, this president and his administration have dealt with those things at home. Even the infrastructure of the country is being gradually dealt with. Huh? Unemployment now, last I heard, 5.9%. Then why are you want to keep on talking to us like President Obama was a bad president? Why do you do that? And then all you white folks and people that's in the Congress and whatnot, Democrats, and distance yourself from President Obama. Why? Like I said, I'm getting sick of you. You write me these little old sorry, pitiful notes. If I wasn't going to be a man and come in and talk to you about it, if everybody knows that in this forum, I welcome people that disagree with me. I welcome them. I just don't welcome you in here talking about you going to give me a piece of your mind. You ain't going to give me no piece of your mind. You better try to keep all them pieces that you got. And you know, you want to come in here and talk to me, fine. And I don't need to hear you coming in here cussing and swearing and hurling insults. If you want to talk, let's talk. What he's saying now? I know he typing something. Well, you better go and look up the word rancid. I'll look it up. And if I was wrong, I'll tell you. Let's see. Rancid. How did he spell it? R-A-N-C-I-D. Let's see here. Excuse me. I had it on something else here. Rancid. Having the disagreeable taste of decomposing oils or fats. Rank, repugnant, nasty. You better go and look up the language, boy. Maybe he had some spelling wrong here. Let me go and look up R-A-N-S-I-D. Okay? Let me see. No. It don't have no other spelling of it. So, of butter, bacon, etc., having an unpleasant, stale taste or smell as the result of decomposition. You know, this computer age is wonderful. That when people try to run game on you, you can manifest if they lying or telling the truth right away. So he waited until we just, what else he got to say? See, he told another lie. He'll change his name now. But I told you, these people, they done dumbed them down so much that they don't know what the language is that they speaking. Huh? As I say, he chose that crazy name, rancid butter. And you notice it fits what he doing though. You know, sitting up suggesting that the scriptures is a myth. Here's somebody who was educated in America got nerve enough to call somebody else a teacher of myths. You got a hell of a nerve. You know, I don't care how you come at me. I got an answer for you. You see, I know what I'm saying. You don't want to know what you're talking about. If you thought I was gonna not know that you was suggesting that the Holy Scriptures are myths. It's 400 years of slavery that the Scripture prophesied that I was gonna go into. Is that a myth, or did it happen? The Scripture say, "I will send you Elijah before the coming of the Lord." The great and dreadful day of the Lord. Did a man named Elijah come and tell you he was that Elijah? His name was Elijah Muhammad. Huh? As it was in the days of Noah and Lot, so shall it be also in the days when the Son of Man is revealed. Did you read up on what they was doing? Of men's hearts was evil continually. Did you hear some of that garbage? You ever been on the internet and looked at the garbage and the way people talk? How hateful they are? Turn on the news. Do you hear anything good? Or is their imagination just evil continually? And how was it in Sodom and Gomorrah? Men was lusting after men and women lusting after women. Is that happening now? Was that a myth? But Humpty Dumpty, egg didn't sit on the wall, and didn't no dish run off with no spoon, and cow didn't jump on no, and Hansel and Gretel didn't run into no witch inside. All them was myths. That's what y'all taught me. I'm not teaching that. That's what y'all taught me. See how the devil always accuse you of what he guilty of. You got something else to say? Okay, we're about out of time now, so I want to let you, and we will be back in the conference room, if it pleases Allah, half hour from now. And that conference room number is area code 712-432-0075. The access code is 912-932, followed by the pound key. And the alternate conference room is area code 605-562-3140. Access code is 869-571, followed by the pound key. And we will meet you back in there a half hour from now, if it please. Till then, may Allah bless us all and keep us safe and in our right minds. Allah's salam alaikum.